Hi, thanks for joining me to talk about Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And specifically today, we're talking about downward facing dog and how to keep your wrists happy. So there are a few different ways to do this. This includes some modifications that don't include using your wrists whatsoever. So we'll see what works best for you. We'll start with just playing around. First is making sure that your wrists are strong in this posture. A lot of us, when we start doing downward dog, or we're just feeling tired or lazy or whatever, we're just kind of sinking into the wrist. We're bringing all our weight into the heel of the hand, and that means all our weight's traveling down from our hips to our wrists with very little support. The bones just kind of smush together. So we want to keep space in that wrist. That means strength. A couple ways that you can play with this. First of all, take a look at your palm and find the very center of your palm. Our first option is that we press into the underside of the knuckles and the length of the fingers. And we lift that very center of the palm away from the floor. So that looks a little bit like this when you're just watching it. Once you're on the floor, it looks a little different. But that's the action you want to create, making it nice and concave right there, pressing everything else into the floor. That's option one. So let's try that option, and then we'll try our next. So here I am just hanging out in my wrists. Doesn't feel so great, to be honest. Instead, now I'm going to press the underside of my knuckles and the length of my fingers into the floor, and I'm going to lift that center of my palm away from the floor. Tuck my toes, lift my hips. Here we are, downward facing dog. Now this works great when you're in table pose as well. Any hands down posture, this can be super helpful. So that's option one of how to strengthen your wrists. Option two is, instead of lifting this part of your hand away, well, I guess you're still lifting it a little bit away, you're going to scrunch your fingers up like you're being like a bad cat. Rawr. You're going to scrunch them up, but still press the underside of your knuckles into the floor. So we're creating a little tension in our fingers, almost like you're clawing the mat, but you still want to keep the underside of your knuckles down. So once you're nice and strong there, lift your hips, find your downward facing dog. This will feel a lot different, and it might feel really a lot better for some of you that have limited mobility in your wrists in particular. So that's two ways to really keep your wrists strong when you're in downward facing dog. And that'll help keep that space, make it feel a lot better. Now I do want to say, the first time you do that, if you've never done it before, it's probably going to feel a little weird. It may make you go, I don't know if I like that better. But remember, you're building strength. So you can do that once or twice in your downward facing dogs. And then the next time, do one of these other alternatives we're going to talk about for downward facing dog and see if that works a little bit better for you. So our alternative ways to do downward dog so that you don't hurt your wrists. So one of the problems with the wrists is just too much pressure when they're bent. So if you come up onto your fists when you do downward facing dog, sometimes just making sure there's less angle there makes a big difference. When you come onto your fists, you want your thumbs to point forwards. You're doing a thumbs up sign. You bring the pad of your thumb down to the floor. I'm tucking my fingers into my palm, but you're just as much welcome to take them to the outside. If you have fingernails, long fingernails, you're definitely going to want them to the outside. So I press my fists down and I lift up into downward facing dog. Totally different angle in the wrists. It might feel a whole lot better for you. So that's an option to try. Our next option takes the wrists out of it almost entirely. We're going to do dolphin pose. So here is our dolphin pose. We bring our forearms down to the floor. Depending on the mobility of your shoulders, you might bring your palms to the floor. And make sure you keep your forearms parallel with one another if you do that. If you try it this way and it feels too tight in your shoulders, interlace your fingers here, and that'll give you a little bit more room to work with. Whichever version you're doing, you're pressing into your forearms lifting your hips to find your downward facing dog. And there should be no trouble with your wrists whatsoever in that particular downward dog. I hope one of those works out really, really well for you. Let me know how it goes. I look forward to it.